Hey you guys, it's Peter and welcome to my channel, Peter Likes Books. And today I have little Boo Radley with me, who just got groomed today. And he is so excited about his candy cane bandana, which he calls a bandana. But anyway, I thought I would have him in here today because we are doing the Christmas Movies book tag, which is by Katie Loves to Read. She actually, it's an original tag that she published on December 4th, published, designed, created on December 4th of 2015. Now, I have done so many tags, but it has been a really long time since I have done a tag. And I'm not sure if I've done this tag or not. I didn't go back and look. I don't really care. It's a really fun tag. I will link it below. Go check out the video. If you want to do it, go tag yourself, do it. I'm going to start doing some more tag videos over here because I haven't done them in a long time and I miss doing them. And I'm also getting rid of a bunch of books. Like, I have been in my basement and I have right now, I don't even know how many boxes I have to go to donations and half-price books and Goodwill and all that kind of stuff. So I am really, really excited to show some of those books in tag videos and before I get rid of them. So anyway, let's get right into this video. Since it's the Christmas season, why not a Christmas movie book tag? And I even have candles lit in the background. Okay, so the first question is, and they're all based on like Christmas movies. The first question is Elf. A book which made you laugh out loud. And you guys are never going to believe this, but I literally have books pulled for every single question, and they're all in order. I'm so excited, okay? Because you know, if you watch my tag videos, I don't do that often. Okay, Elf. A book which made you laugh out loud. A book which made me laugh out loud, which is so funny because it just came out. The movie just came out. It's fantastic. I'm going to be doing a review of it on my review channel. I now have a review channel. It's called Peter Reviews Stuff. It's linked below. And that is Dumplin' by Julie Murphy. This is one of my all-time favorite books of life. I loved it so much. The movie did not disappoint. It is now probably next to To Kill a Mockingbird, my all-time favorite movie adaptation from a book, and I just thought it was fantastic. I do want to say this though, okay? That as funny as it is, because Willow Dean is just, I think it was funny to me because I so related to her on so many levels, but she just is such a real character too. And one of the things that I will say that did not translate into film a lot, in certain parts it did, but in the book, Willow Dean can be quite a bitch at times, and I love that about her, right? Because I do love flawed characters, and so we can all be bitches at times, you know what I mean? And so I loved that about her in the book, that she was, you know, she wasn't always the nicest person, and she got her feelings hurt, and she, you know, acted out and things like that. And so she was a flawed character, and I love that about her. Puddin', the follow-up to this, which is kind of like the spinoff, about Millie, was fantastic too, and just as hilarious. And I actually loved how Millie was portrayed in the movie, so I'm really, fingers crossed, hoping they make that into a movie too. So anyway, so Dumplin' would be my answer to Elf. If you have not seen or read, if you have not read the book or seen the movie, I would highly recommend reading the book first. A lot of books to movies, I don't feel like you really need to do that, but with this one, the reason why I think is because they're both so great alone, but when you see the movie, it doesn't ruin it for you that you've read the book, but it just makes it even better because you know the characters on a deeper level. So, go check out Dumplin'. Okay. The next question is Arthur Christmas, a middle grade YA book that you think adults would love or could learn from. Now, I had had this book on TBRs for like 2 years and I had never read it. And I ended up getting it on Audible and listening to it and reading it at the same time. And I thought it was so fantastic. And to this day, I still haven't seen the movie. I need to see the movie. I was just so completely thrown out by this book. Like, I mean, it really, really, really changed a lot of how I look at the world, and from a very simple point of view, and that book is R.J. Palacio's Wonder, and I just thought it was absolutely fantastic, you know? And the motto at the end, I think his motto is, what is it, that we all deserve a standing ovation at least once in our life. Where is it at? I want to make sure I get it exactly right. Because at the back of it, they all have their, everyone in the world should get a standing ovation at least once in their life, because we all overcometh the world. And I think it's just so fantastic the way that this book was put together. I thought it was so beautifully done. And again, I thought it was very real, you know? It was, and I thought for middle graders, like, it was very real in a lot of what they're going through, you know? And there's a little adventure in there, and it was a fun read. It was a very quick read. So if you've never read it, go check out Wonder. I'm slowly beginning to notice a theme that almost, well, that's not true. I was gonna say almost every book I picked has a movie that goes along with it. Okay, White Christmas, a classic book. I love the movie White Christmas so much. Do you guys love that movie? Oh my God, Sister. Was that in White Christmas? I think that was in White Christmas, wasn't it? Or was that in, my mom and I used to sing that song together. Or was it in Holiday Inn? I always get the movies Holiday Inn and White Christmas completely confused. Okay, White Christmas, a classic book that you think everyone needs to read. This will be of no surprise to anyone, but it is a two-parter. I think that everybody should read at least once in their life To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. This is my all-time favorite book of life, my all-time favorite movie adaptation of life. It's so fantastic. It is just, I actually like the movie better than the book. But again, you have to read the book to understand the movie fully, I think, because there's so many characters that are not in the movie that are in the book. The whole family members that are just like swiped out in the movie, right? But it's so fantastic, which is why I have a dog named Boo Radley. And it's just, I don't know, I think it's really hard to read this book. And, you know, I've read it a couple times in my life. I think like 2 or 3 times. I read it last year while I listened to it on Audible. It was the Sissy Spacek Audible version of it. I did not love it. I would not recommend it on Audible, especially if you've seen the movie. Because the way that it's narrated in the movie and the way that Scout speaks and things like that, Sissy Spacek changes, I think, to make it her own, and I didn't love it. I honestly thought, because Sissy Spacek is one of my favorite actresses of life, I thought she would go into it and be like almost, like it would be like kind of a rendition of the movie, but it wasn't that at all. So, and my part 2 to this is that if you have never read Go Set a Watchman by Harper Lee, which was the book they said that she never wanted published, and supposedly she wrote this before she wrote To Kill a Mockingbird. But the way that when you read it, okay, now I can totally understand that because there are parts of the book that it feels like maybe a publisher said to her. There are parts that where she like is looking back on her childhood. So if you don't know, To Kill a Mockingbird is when Jean Louise, Scout, is very, very young. And Go Set a Watchman is when she's older and she comes back to visit her dad. And but she looks back on her childhood a lot in Go Set a Watchman, and there are pieces of it that feels like maybe the publisher said, take this and turn it into a novel that's all about kids, maybe, I don't know. I loved it. It's gotten a lot of criticism because of Atticus in this book. I think one of the things that has to be remembered is the time that this book was written, as well as it being a small town in the South. And I think that that's, you know, a lot of missed in translation. And I also think that one of the reasons that we've never discussed this, or I haven't heard a lot of discussion about it, why Harper Lee never wanted this book published was the way that people had idolized Atticus Finch. And I don't think she really expected that when this book came out. But people really do. I mean, like, you know, there's a lot of us out there that would love to be married to Atticus Finch, you know? And so, you know, this book makes you look at Atticus in a completely different way as a very flawed human being, you know? And in the way that To Kill a Mockingbird doesn't make him flawed very much at all. And what I love about him is, as companion pieces that fit together, it does feel a bit like a sequel to me. I mean, they do feel like they fit together. The way that it ends is such perfection. And as you get older in life and your relationships with your parents change and you start to see them, you know, if you've had a relationship like I had with my father, you know, where I very much looked up to him that he could do no wrong. And over time I started to realize, you know what, my dad's a human being just like everybody else. And that's very much the journey of Jean Louise in Go Set a Watchman. And I think it's fantastic. And the way that it ends is just, I mean, if you read it and if you've read To Kill a Mockingbird and you've never read Go Set a Watchman, strap yourself in, because in the first 3 pages you find out some very painful things. So anyway, that is my classic that I think that everybody should read. Okay, Love Actually, a book with a huge cast of characters, and I'm going to steal from Katie because I stood there at my bookshelves and looked forever, and I am going to say Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. Rowling, I am literally an hour away from finishing Goblet of Fire. It has taken me, like, I think over a month at this point to finish it. It is 22 hours long, and it is, I love it. It's great. And, but I'm doing a little read along on my channel if you didn't know. And so I'm taking the rest of December off from Harry Potter. In January, I'm going to pick up with the Order of the Phoenix. So, but this one, and I get very confused. Like, I have to like look through the book and be like, now what's this person's name? And, you know, they'll reference like a teacher that, like, in this book, they'll reference the teacher that was like in Chamber of Secrets 2 books before. And I'm like, I don't remember, like, okay. So anyway, very confusing, but I do love them. They're fantastic. Okay. Let's see. The next one, The Grinch, a book with a great villain. And for that one, I picked Cinder by Marissa Meyer. I love this book. I haven't read the rest of the series, but I thought it was fantastic. My dog, Tucker, is over here just going crazy. But I thought it was crazy. I thought it was crazy. No, I loved it. I love this book. I thought it was so genius. And I think actually Dylan sent me this book. So a little shout out to Dylan. I will link his channel below. We should all be, you know, shouting out smaller booktubers out there. And he's not as small as he used to be anymore. But he's fantastic. So I think it's, what's his channel? Dylan Reed. Oh, shoot. Why can't I remember? I watch all of his videos. But anyway, I'll link Dylan's channel below. Go check him out. I love Dylan. He is the most active booktuber in the world on social media. Go check out his Instagram and his Twitter. But I think he may have sent this to me actually. So I loved in this book Queen Lana, is that her name? The Lunar Queen, or whatever, but she was the queen from the moon. I thought she was a fantastic villain. I loved her. I love villains that are a little bit different, but kind of glamorous at the same time. I'm sure that's not a shock to anybody. So I loved her for that reason. You know, it's very much like the villains in the James Bond movies, and I thought she was kind of like that a little bit, and I liked her for that. I mean, I didn't like her, but I'm not a reader that loves villains. Like, I always like the nice person. I always, which you'll find out in the next couple books that I read, but I'm always like rooting for the underdog and stuff, you know? So anyway, okay. The next book, the next question, It's a Wonderful Life, a book which really made you think about life. And for that one, I picked 2 as well again. Do I only have, how many do I have left? Oh shoot. Well, I left one out of my equation. Okay, so the one that makes me think about life is 2 of them. And the first one is The Art of Racing in the Rain by Garth Stein. This book was so fantastic. If you have a dog lover in your life and you're looking to buy somebody a holiday present that's a dog lover or a cat lover or whatever, this book is so good. It is about a dog who knows he's at the end of his life, and he goes back and tells the whole story of he and his master. I could tear up just even talking about this book. It is so fantastic. It is so heartfelt. It's basically a perspective of life from a dog's point of view, and it is unbelievable. It is so fantastic. And so many people had read it, recommended it to me, and I hadn't read it. And then I read it, and I was like, I can't believe that I hadn't, you know, read this book before. It's fantastic. Okay, and another book that really made me think about life, and this was another book that several people had recommended to me and I never read, was Michael Chabon's The Mysteries of Pittsburgh. And, you know, it's interesting reading it. I think, like, this is very much kind of like, don't kill me. This is very much like Catcher in the Rye of today's time, although I think it came out in the 70s. So, I don't know. Like, I remember reading it and thinking it was, like, published in the 90s, and I looked in there and it was, like, not at all. Hold on a second. It came out in 1988. And, so it's not, but I thought it was more current. I read this like, I think a year ago, 2 years ago. I have no clue when I read this book, but it was so fantastic. And it's about this guy, and he's going to school in Pittsburgh, and it's like he meets all these different people, and it's kind of like he just like blossoms. And it's very much a coming of age book. He's in college, and it has a lot to do with sexuality, but not really at the same time. It's just kind of like a lot about the fluidity of choices maybe in life, and figuring out who you are and being scared of figuring out who you are. And it's just such a great book. And I really think that had I read this like at 20 versus like, you know, in my 40s, I would have had a different, like, this is where it's like To Kill a Mockingbird. I think at different periods of your life, you would read this book differently, if that makes sense. And I'm very thankful I read it when I did. I don't know, it may have, I think it's great, but I will tell you it's very sad and depressing at parts. I think it would have made me a little, the way that I look back on Catcher in the Rye today, and I'm like, I don't know that I love that book. Like, it's kind of depressing. And like, this might make you feel a little jaded reading this when you're younger. So I'm just putting that out there. Okay. Let's see. Okay, The Polar Express, a book where the characters go on an adventure. Oh, I'll just pick Paper Towns by John Green. I mean, why not? I love that book so much. So, and the last one is, speaking of which, The Snowman. Choose a book with a festive cover, i.e. snow, ornaments, blues, reds, greens, etc. And I picked Let It Snow by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Miracle, which is one of the books that I'm actually reading right now for the season. So, yeah. Okay, and then the last one was, she said, what is your favorite Christmas movie of life? And I said, hold on just a second. And, oh shoot. I said Smoky Mountain Christmas. I'm dreaming of a Smoky Mountain Christmas. I am not going to shout out Dylan. I'm looking at his Twitter right now. I am not going to shout out Dylan's channel and not get his channel name right. I cannot believe that I didn't get this right. Hold on a second. Oh, he doesn't have it connected to it. Ooh, YouTube. Dylan! You make this so difficult. Dylan is reviewing. He's actually changed the name of his channel. So I will link his channel below. Go check it out. Thank you so much to, oh, now I've messed it up. Katie, I think it's Katie Reeds, for creating this book tag. And I will link her information below as well. I hope you enjoyed that. Have you never seen Smoky Mountain Christmas with Dolly Parton? Oh my God. It's a made-for-TV movie. It's usually on country music television every year, and I love it. It's fantastic. So anyway, I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed that tag, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.